like I say, it's really funny. They wanted me to change the laws. They wanted me to make it so there was a statute of limitations on murder. And when I wouldn't do that, they said, "Well, I sure wish you hadn't said that, son." I said, "Why? You gonna kill me?" Yeah, I guess they were. Anyway, like I said, they got found out. Those guys, they were using pleasure submarines that had been painted Lucifer White Star white, and the old buddies who had actually originally designed the submarine 80 years or 100 years before came and talked to them, and that's when they actually found out how old they were. That they were actually like 150 years old or 80 years old submarines or 50-year-old submarines that had been used a lot over the past 50, 60 years. And that's when they saw the pictures and everything else. Anyway, come to find out, like I say, they didn't have enough money for even the paint job of $50,000. Not to mention the it costs like $80,000 or $90,000 just for the impeller or something like that. It's a really expensive repair, actually. And they wanted the engines rebuilt, and there's also a bunch of other stuff like leaky pipes, and they want it ship shape. And since I was going to have it as a rental craft, I went ahead and had them do it up all nice and good. So some volunteers also came in on those submarines to shine them up really good and make them look really nice because it was going to be for a rental museum. So a bunch of volunteers and a bunch of old a bunch of old veterans came in and shined up those White Star submarines and made them all nice and pretty. They got the paint job just right and perfect. On every single one of those White Star subs that was like 80 years old, because technically they were museum pieces at Pearl Harbor. And then they went out there and they killed 6,000 small children that had waited all year long to go on a submarine ride, just to make the Japanese mad. And then they blew up. And then when the Japanese didn't get mad, they blew up some other Japanese or some other aircraft carriers. Well, actually, were mine, but killing. Actually, I think they killed their own people because there was a mixed crew on both those ships. They were my ships as well. Probably because they thought that they would be communicating with me, and they wanted to make sure. And that was another thing. That radio officer on that one American destroyer, American aircraft carrier, was paid like $250 to find out where those other aircraft carriers were, so their sub could go sink them. And then their sub turned around and shot the American aircraft carrier, sinking it, killing 1,500 people on it. Anyway, they were already raping and killing in the islands like crazy. All 4 submarines. They had a little bit of money by then. They had gotten them all filled up, using them as pleasure, stating they were doing tribal research, looking at local mating habits, using commandos to attack. Guys wearing nothing but thongs. I'm serious, they just wear thongs. Little Speedos. Just cover up, and then they would slip it off real quick for the rapey. And then they would sneak back into their little things and go back out to their white. And people would see the white submarines out there in the water. Lucifer White Star gleaming, all nice and beautiful, perfect. One of them even had all the volunteers' names signed on it. They signed one of the submarines, showing all the volunteers. It's a good story. It's a really good story. They used paint and they signed every single one of the submarines had all the names signed on the side. Right in the white. And then JFK or those guys that you see on the TV on the 1930s things went in with wearing, and John McCain was with them too, wearing nothing but Speedos. And then they went in. They didn't want to have any clothes get ripped off and have a label or something on the back. They didn't want to be traced back to them. So they'd sneak on in. They would pick out women. Use a little binoculars, picking out women. And then they would rape them. And then they would get back in their little submarines and they would go off. And then they would pick off a few more ships or steal some more stuff. Later on, the legal battle, like I said, they wanted to bankrupt me and then they wanted to sue me for owning the submarines. They wanted to even tell me that they were there on my orders. And that I had something to do with it. That maybe I even had ordered them to rape those women. Trying to cite me as liable so they could sue me for the money and then keep it. Like I say, there's a reason why 5,000 of them got, or 5 million of them got tortured. There were 5 million total, about, or 250 million people that would be tortured by another race. Like I said, if I didn't do it, somebody was going to do it. The Japanese had every right to do it, but it wasn't either. There's another one in the galaxy. They upset somebody else. Somebody that was like me, I think. So, anyway, they upset me a lot too. I mean, they should have, even America was looking for them. Like I said, they didn't care that they said, oh, it's the Japanese, but they didn't care. They targeted French women. They targeted Japanese women. They even killed their husbands. They had no regard. And I guess it's just a little motif on the top that they were riding around in those subs that the volunteers had actually worked really hard to make all nice and ship-shape and ready and look good inside. And they used a torpedo, to blow up a ship with children on it. Anyway, the Japanese wouldn't enter the war. They wouldn't seek vengeance or violence. They couldn't provoke them. So they tried provoking America. Going into America, going, those Japanese, blah, blah, blah. Let's lock them up. They actually did do a fair amount of damage, though. A lot of people died because of what they did. They did get their war. It took them about 50 years to do it, though. So you can count them successful. You know, I wasn't ready to blame, and a lot of people defended me, and probably more than probably should have. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people said they would have just found another way to do it. Maybe. At least it wouldn't have been my submarines. Anyway, yeah. But that's the Republican and the Democrats and what they did. And then there's the food poisoning, the Black Plague, and everything else. And I'm not exactly sure when all that happened. Like, it might have been a lot longer ago than I think. I think they were like 15 at the time when they were doing this stuff. Or something like that. I don't know who helped them or what they did or how they got so far. Being psychotic, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty bad. It's really bad, actually. Later on, Nixon would say that he was a war hero and all that, and how he actually even carried a man across the beach when he was wounded. Was his dick wounded? Did he hurt it? Aww. Did she grab it too hard? Actually, I think a girl did actually bite it off. She was like, to one of them. And I think maybe that was when he passed out because he couldn't take the pain. And Nixon might have, or somebody might have, actually I think it was John McCain, picked him up and like carried him to the life raft and pulled him out to the ship so he could get medical treatment because she like bit off the tip. The truth. And I think it was John McCain, and they wanted to give him a Purple Heart for carrying the man, the wounded man. It's like, and the other sailors found out. Everybody, the whole world found out, actually, a little bit. They might have killed the people that found out, but hey. Anyway, yeah. A lot of people came to my defense, too. But, I mean, it was, I shouldn't even post that because it's not funny what happened. I was like, there's mad, and then there's where I was. They provoked me. Yes, they definitely provoked me. But anyway. But I have other means of doing things, so, oh well.